It all started with a small SaaS company in Finland. Today, it's used in over 80 countries around the world. The journey, anything but easy. Lessons learned, key insights, hard-earned experiences. This is the founder's point of view.
Hi, and welcome to Founder's Point of View. Today we are going to talk about active sales and active sales as your competitive advantage. Right?
Exactly.
So, huge and important episode coming about the important topic.
Yeah, you're right. We came up to this topic because lately we have got great success with the active sales process.
Yeah.
And the understanding of the active sales what we have used when we have reached out to our current clients, the new clients with the AI visibility features. And I think that has been a good reminder for us that how strategic it can be if you have a capability to do active sales.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
and you understand how it works and how to manage that.
Yeah, definitely. So the fact is that inbound alone is not enough currently. So there's been a lot of talk about inbound sales and inbound marketing. And many of us may think that like active sales is just annoying cold calling and so on. So doesn't customer just buy when they have the need?
Yeah. I think we as a customer we think that we don't want to be sailed. We want to buy when we are ready.
Exactly.
And we want to do autonomous decisions on our own without that someone tells us that what we should do. And I think that's the fact or the insight behind the myth that we think that the sales is stereotypically some kind of cold calling when someone calls someone else without the wrong time, wrong message, wrong communication. They don't understand their needs, and they just push their own goals and vision without listening at all. So that stereotype is, when you think about sales through that stereotype model, I think that you will think that, okay, our company is not going to ever do active sales because they think that it should be like that. But it doesn't need to be like that nowadays, especially nowadays when we have all the information, especially in B2B sales, that we have all the information needed to contact our potential clients at right time with the right message and contact the right people also and right decision makers. So it doesn't need to be annoying at all. And same time, based on the studies and the researchers, we know that people don't buy things when they need things. They do it too late. They even went to the bank. The companies, they go to the bankruptcy before investing in active sales, for example. And so we only change. We used to change, and we tend to change our behavior after a crisis.
Yeah. So double check if I understood it correctly. People buy when they need something, but they don't recognize the need.
Yeah, that's true. They recognize the need too late.
Yeah.
On average,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's where we need salespeople.
Yeah. And because especially the B2B, but also the consumers, but in the B2B, we want to be busy. We think that we are so busy that we don't have time to do things, and we do things we just have on our plate now, but we don't have the future plans for the potential needs we will have in future, and that's why we postpone the decisions also as long as possible, because we have so much to do just now. And that is the reason why we need to do active sales, and that is the reason why there is a lot of potential if you do active sales and you know your client and you can define your ICP well. So
it makes total sense, but still, isn't marketing like more pleasant for the customer? What is the information people actually trust when doing the buying decisions?
yeah, that's a good question. Then many times we think that the marketing is not as annoying as sales communication, but it is actually, we have got that much marketing that we don't even recognize that at all. So
it's true.
like someone has said that we got we get 5,000 marketing messages in one day, and most of the messages, they are not relevant at all, but we have got used to that, so that's totally okay for us that everyone is marketing for us, doing marketing for us.
Then
but
we have lots of systems like ad blockers for browsers and different applications for email to categorize and mark them as spam and so.
We have the technologies to prevent the marketing communication, but same time when we go to the shopping center and there is a young guy selling newspaper or electricity systems, we are scared that, oh my God, he's going to me and he's asking a question from me and we want to go away as quick as possible. And that's a funny thing. But then we lay on the sofa at home and we watch YouTube videos, and it's totally okay to check. After 5 minutes, we have 10 advertise ads. Then we see 10 ads, and that's suddenly totally okay.
Even though if it's done right, the cold calling may be like much more useful for you. If they have recognized that you may have some need.
That's true.
They want to
That's true. That's true.
and so on.
And only few of those phone calls, for example, I get today, every day I got like 4 to 10 maybe the calls from numbers I don't know. And of course I'm not able to answer for everyone, and there are days where I cannot answer to any one of them. But still, when I answer, many times there is a sales rep who has done the work. He knows that why he is calling and why this topic might be relevant for me, and his job is to find out that is he right that this topic is relevant and the timing is good and we have these kind of needs, and that's totally okay. And we have found great companies and great partners through those cold calls and the cold emails. Of course, there's a lot of crap also, but because we same time we get a lot of marketing messages, 5,000 a day, and people don't trust marketing at all. I think that's the problem, that they don't. Only 14% of people they use marketing information as information when they do the purchasing decision. So they don't believe that that's true. The marketing. Then every time when we buy something new, and we don't have past experience about that topic, we don't check the marketing information. We want to hear the what others are thinking about that topic and what others are used. We want to read reviews and feedback and public information, third-party pages, online forums, social media posts, and everything. And then after those, we check that what the company itself is saying about themselves. So we don't trust the marketing communication and the marketing information at all when we do the buying decision, and that's because we have got so much marketing in every way nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about the sales management and leading the sales team? How to make it like predictable and you know, to make it like not random like this for many companies.
You can make it predictable without having a sales team. It's because sales is a math formula, and it's a formula like meetings combined, the closing rate combined, or the average deal size.
Yeah.
That's the formula. So every time you want to do sales, you need to understand that the results are based on that formula, and you need to start to allocate your time from your calendar to how to arrange those meetings, how to do things better, what we need to do to increase the closing rate. How many of those meetings is going to be new client or turn to be a new client, and what we need to fix with our product and the productization and the pricing to get more the increase the deal size. So if you don't allocate your time in your calendar for those kind of three things, you cannot do sales. But you can do it on your own as an entrepreneur with your colleagues, or you can do that through the sales function. You can recruit people and follow that formula and do things related to that formula. And if you are doing something else, if you think that you are doing sales, but when you check the reality and what you are actually doing, and you see that, okay, now it seems that the activities I do are not related to this formula, then you can say, okay, the focus is wrong. My focus is on wrong things. I need to change that back to this formula, and then you start to do more sales things. And when you manage your sales and lead the sales, you need to manage the time allocation. How your team allocate the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes totally sense as well. And I like the idea that sales is math. Just repeat some things and find some patterns and so on.
And when it's done well, and all the activities related to that sales formula is done well, and you use the CRM system, and you follow the metrics, and you have the dashboards and everything, you can predict the future. You can know even the exact cash flow in the future based on the meetings you have in your calendar.
Yeah, exactly. Then when you are allocating all your time, like right activities and so on, I assume you will need some like clear sales process, right? So what are the critical steps for that?
Yeah, and it's always hard to lead if you don't have a process, and it's hard to manage if you don't have the process to follow and process to teach to the new people. And especially as a young entrepreneur, and when you have a young company and you are not able to recruit the professionals you recruit the young people, you need to give them a process to follow.
Yeah.
And I remember that we used to have some kind of 8-step process for our sales, which we taught for everyone. And they started to follow it, and they also got some more senior sales rep to help them, and they could follow also the steps he or she takes.
Yeah.
And took with that process. But in brief, I think that the most critical steps you can divide them to the five categories. So the prospecting is the number one. So you need to know that who is the ideal client, who is the decision maker you want to reach out. What are their needs? What is the demographic information behind the company that you know that you are able to help them, and what are the things which tell you that they might have the problem you can solve.
So
And
like two things, ICP plus decision maker.
yeah, the information of both, yeah. And that tells you that, okay, now it seems that, and ideally that is done in a way that when you see your prospects, you think, okay, I want to contact every one of them.
Yeah.
I can tell them the heaven. I can solve the heaven for them, and they are. You start to see that, okay, there's a lot of problems with them. They have a lot of problems which I can solve. I want to contact them immediately. And if you have that kind of prospect, then the prospecting is done well enough. And the next step is, of course, the contacting. And the contacting is not hard. It's not hard at all if the ICP is well defined and you have the good prospects. It's always nice to start to do contacting because you know that you can help. And the meaning of contacting is that your job is to find out that is there an actual reason to take more time together. You just check that where you're right that you might have that kind of problem based on the information I got from the online. Am I right? And ask questions to find out that is it relevant to set up a 30-minute meeting or 60-minute meeting to take a deeper look about the problem and solve the case studies what we have done and things like that. And then when there's going to be a meeting, then you start to do the preparation. So before every meeting, you need to do the preparation and do the homework and check the history and everything. You might have done that during the prospecting. You might have all the relevant information collected during the prospecting process, but also the preparation for the meeting. For our case, for example, it might be that we some kind of open the trial period. We open the account for them and put a logo and colors and the brand, the information, everything. And once we start to do the demo in a meeting, we have everything ready. It can be like that, but all the preparation that you don't need to do that at all in a meeting. And once you go to the meeting, you don't need to ask stupid question, and you can spend the time with the relevant topics and the relevant questions, because the next step in a meeting is to discover the needs, and that's maybe the second important part is to do the comprehensive discovery about the client's needs. And to understand the client's pains and the ideal future, and ask questions like that. If you had all the resources now, what's the way you would like to build that system, and what is the ideal way to solve the problems you have. And then the next step, of course, is the solution and the way you present the solution and how you present the proposal of the solution. That's the way.
Yeah, sounds good. So basically, when you have like strong sales process and also clear math behind it, and you follow the path and do the activities and so on, you have like keys to succeed. Yeah, like hearing things like these make me thinking and that basically everyone could be great salesperson, sales guy, but that's possibly the half truth, but it's not the whole truth. Clearly, we have seen that. So I've seen from some of your materials, I've seen some kind of X plus Y axles, including like activity levels and like the
Quadrant.
sales knowledge, basically. Like those professional things related to sales work. So, like you mentioned, even we don't get like all the ready-made sales professionals, but we have to recognize the potential and like grow them with our processes and so on. So how to recognize those best sales people and best potential sales people and so on? What makes the good sales?
It is always hard to recognize that. It's to recognize that. It's always very hard, and you don't know that before testing. That's the thing. Of course, if someone has a long experience with similar product, with the similar ICP in a similar market, I think that and he can show the numbers. That's different story.
Yeah.
But typically, as a startup, young entrepreneur, you don't have you're not able to do that and recruit the people like that. And that's why I designed that and I planned that kind of quadrant. And I have seen similar ones, maybe not the similar topics, but the idea of them has been the same. That there has been two axes. One is the activity level, it's a horizontal. Horizontal is an activity level, and then there's a sales competence, which is a vertical level. And so you can have 4 different kind of profiles for all of your sales reps you have, or for yourself. And so in the top right there is a top sellers, the high competence and high activity. So that's the top sellers, and everyone wants to be a top seller, and to go there is always going through the activity, through the horizontal way. So you need to increase the activity to collect the sales competence needed to be a top seller. And then under the top sellers, there is a potentials. So those who are very active, maybe a little bit junior, they don't have the understanding, the client understanding. They don't know the technology, they don't know the process well. They have a lot to do with the sales competence, but still they are very active. So one day they will be the top sellers.
So that's the section you have to be checking and looking for if you can't get the top right sales professional.
Yeah. And then the top left, there are the gunners. The high competence but low activity. Those old-fashioned car sellers. When you go to buy Toyota, you will see those old guys, and they don't even stand up. They don't even stand up when you see you. But they could do a lot of sales with more if they just increase the activity level of their work. So that's the thing. And under them are droppers, low competence, low activity, and those are the people you need to get rid of. If they don't want to increase the activity and reach the potential level, you should get rid of them as quick as possible. And I think that model that works so well, especially in one-to-ones, and when you analyze the next steps with everyone, that what you should do differently in future, today, tomorrow, and that help us to analyze. Typically, that help us to analyze that. Okay, where are you now? Are you a dropper, gunner, potential, or top seller? And what we need to do to be a top seller in future.
Commercial break. Trust Mary in 30 seconds.
Trust Mary helps companies to automate the review and feedback collection and utilizing in their marketing.
We are a Finnish company, but we are already operating in 80 different countries.
Our product is especially designed for the companies doing service-oriented business coming from traditional industries.
If you need any help related to these topics, just reach us out on LinkedIn. We are happy to help.
And now back to the story.
Yeah. If you are starting your career journey and you end up being the trapper in sales, so is that some kind of sign that you won't be sales guy in the future? What do you think?
Yeah, if you want to be in that box, I think you should you should change the place you work.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be active in sales and you are junior, you cannot succeed in sales. I think that's the conclusion of that.
Yeah.
But if you are junior and you are active, one day you can be a top seller.
Yeah. But from the active but not like ready sales professional box, it's relatively easy to move to the top line.
It depends that what sector you work in. For example, that it's very hard to understand the market and the client.
Yeah.
You need to do more things and spend years with the senior guys and the client. And if you have a long sales cycle, half a year sales cycle, big clients, that's always harder to get as enough activity to go top level.
Yeah.
Go top level player. But for example, if you do some kind of fast and quick sales, you can be professional pretty quickly because you get more activity and you learn faster.
Exactly.
But I think the personalities and the other profile of the sales rep can be different compared. So if you do, for example, that half a year sales cycle, million euros deals compared to the $20 newspaper deals in a shopping center. Those persons totally different. Yeah. That is also one myth that people think that they mix that everyone in sales are similar and they need to have that some kind of stereotypical sales mindset and personality to succeed in sales, but they're totally different kind of
really good
people.
point.
Yeah.
That's really good point.
Yeah.
All
okay.
Right. Hey, thanks for sharing super inspiring and useful information. How would you summarize the episode, like top 3 things?
I think that the first thing is that many companies, they miss a lot of potential because they don't do active sales and they just wait to have new clients and they trust too much in marketing and inbound. They don't understand the truthness of the sales and all the potential of what they could get through sales function. That's maybe the number one, and And the second one is that the sales doesn't need to be hard. It's just a math formula, and you allocate your time to the right activities to increase the results through the math formula.
Yeah.
So and maybe the third thing is that that you need to be you need to have some kind of easy black and white model to find out that what you should do differently in future as a salesperson or people responsible of the new sales. So you need to check the activity level, or you need to increase the your experience and the competence level.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right. Thank you once again, and thanks for listening. See you next episode.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.